Fala pessoal ligado na Ilha do Metal, eu tenho a honra de conversar com o Tony Kako, do Sonata Arctica. Nós estamos aqui a bordo do 70,000 Tons of Metal e vamos conversar um pouquinho sobre a banda finlandesa do meu coração. Tony, thank you very much for receiving us, for talking to us. I'd like to start asking you about your last tour, the Winter Chapter Tour, where you played the Caleb Saga. The Caleb Saga, did you already have it in your mind and just release it little by little in each album, or how it happened?
No, it was just one song that I at some point noticed that, okay, this song, the other song, then Don't Say a Word, it had kind of similar theme, and I figured, okay, well, maybe they are like connected, these two songs, and then came up with Caleb and Juliet later on, and they were like, wow, I'm beginning to get a saga, but I had no idea that it would turn out to be such a thing, you know, special thing that goes on from one album to another. And but it's not a story per se, it's just one continuing story, but it's like same story or the same idea written again and again. It's like Friday the 13th. Basically the same idea, but it's just a new way of putting it.
Yeah, that was really nice. I had the chance to see, and I don't know if you're gonna continue trying to play in at least some songs that you don't play very often, like the end of the chapter, or in other countries, or what?
Well, here we're gonna play the saga again on the tonight actually. So yeah, it's cool.
Okay, and another special tour that you made was the acoustic set. Yeah, that was beautiful. That was magic. And is there any possibility of you do like a world acoustic set or come with an acoustic album? And how was the feeling of playing the acoustic songs for people? How was the experience?
I love doing those acoustic songs and you know, the acoustic atmosphere, that's so much more easygoing and just, you know, personal. It feels more intimate with the people, and for singer especially, it gives you so much more space to really sing and just, you know, not scream, because it doesn't feel right to kind of scream on top of the acoustic atmosphere and things. So it's for me, it's much more fun than actually doing the normal heavy metal shows. So definitely I would love to do a world tour in that style, but let's see if it ever happens. You know, it would be fantastic. But you know, I know there are a lot of promoters that are kind of skeptic about it, that if it would actually work out, and how would, especially in Europe, it seems that they want to have the full, like electronic.
Okay.
Electronic show sounds so bad, but like with the electricity amplified, the normal shows instead of the acoustic. But definitely, it would be fantastic. I'd love to do that. And you know, when it comes to the album, it would be fantastic fun to do. Like take old songs that we already have and just, you know, redo them in an acoustic way. I'd love that.
You already actually did it at some point, because I heard the first version of Shy.
Yeah.
It was like a speed metal song, and then suddenly comes with a ballad that's super beautiful. So I think you already had that feeling.
Yeah, like Mary Lou, for example, the original version that I wrote, it was like a ballad, like more acoustic song, but then we needed more fast stuff for the early Sonata Arctica, so it kind of turned out that way. But definitely I love kind of the softer versions of my songs. It gives them more room to breathe and kind of life, I suppose, in some ways.
That's amazing. You love, and I am sure that the Latin American fans love too. So if Europe doesn't want, you can always come to Brazil and South America. You have...
Make it happen.
Yeah, I do really hope it happens. And talking about the early Sonata, I don't want to ask you about the early Sonata, but it's obvious in your albums that in time you always evolve as musicians and in the songwriting and lyrics, and you still keep the identity of the band, which is really cool. What does inspire you to change all the time?
Well, we do change people when you grow up. I'm not the same kid I was when I was 20 years old, so definitely, you know, I've grown a lot and changed. My life has changed, so I let the music evolve together with me, you know, and I know the people, a lot of people who follow my and listen to my music, they grow up as well, and this kind of gives them an opportunity to kind of grow together with the music as well. So I'm not sure if all the people who were listening to speedy power metal when they were 15, if they are 40 suddenly, and are they necessarily so much into that same style anymore? Might be, yeah, but there's also this opportunity, and it happens a lot that people kind of grow out of a certain phase in their musical development and life, and I've given myself a chance to kind of go with it and just write whatever feels right at any given time, and that's why it evolves and it feels really natural for me. And it gives. It's controversial in a way. Some people hate it. They would like to see the old Sonata Arctica just go on and have this simple power metal approach to our music, but that's never going to happen again. The songs are there, they'll never leave, and we might every now and again take a few of them back in the set list, but Sonata Arctica is an evolving entity, like an organic thing, and it needs to breathe and live and then grow.
Yeah, I think you lose fans, but you also gain a lot of fans. So that's a balance there, yeah, and it's probably also the music that you listen changes with time and also influence the.
It's the most important thing, I think, is that we as a band, we don't get tired of what we are doing. There are some times when this seems really hard, and you're spending a lot of time away from home and everything, and you would rather do anything else than what we are doing right now. But then at the end of the day, when you know that you can change tiny things and refresh the whole band, the music, what we do, and the next album we can have a few songs that are totally different, and then like freaking have a jazz song there if I feel like it, like one or two, something totally different, just to shake the old formula a little bit, and we can do that. It might be a surprise, like a throw off for some people, but that's how it is. And I love bands that are boldly going and then doing different things every now and again, and still kind of manage to maintain their identity as a band, and like Queen, for example, they've done a hell of a lot of weird shit along the years, and they're still Queen. So
yeah, I think it's fantastic because when you go to a gig, you can play 10 times and you can go to 10 gigs, and they all be different all the time because you change the set list, because you're doing new stuff, because you're evolving. So I think it's also very good to the fans because you don't see the same thing every time they go to see the band. So yeah, so I'm glad that you like it and keep doing it. And don't know exactly when, but from some time you have like this campaign that I'm wearing on the t-shirt, just like keeping live music alive. Is it a tough moment for metal? I mean, it's just like, is it how important is for you, because you emphasize it, is really that's come to the gigs and also thank everyone in the audiences for being there. How is it important to the band? I mean, because I guess that you don't have other day jobs, you have to concentrate on Sonata Arctica.
Well, Pasi actually, he's got a studio, so
okay.
another thing as well. But this is like our main means of making a living, basically livelihood. So yeah, it's important, of course, and of course, like every person who buys a ticket to see the show, they are equally valuable for us, and what they are fundamentally doing when they go and see live shows, any live bands, they are giving that one band that they go and see a chance to do it again another day. And also the venue, if you have a nice venue somewhere near where you live, go and see the shows, or don't complain when they close down.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it happens in Brazil. We have some venues that just are not operating as venues for gigs anymore because probably.
Well, there are many things that can cause that. The venue might be problematical. They might have some problems. The venue itself, like mold, whatever, or it's just bad place, or they're demolishing it. As it often is the case with these rock places, caves. But there are some new places as well, and it just needs people. Music needs people to listen and to come and see the shows.
So in terms of money, it's more profitable for you gigs than buying merches. I mean, if a fan
it's a combo.
Have a limited budget. I mean, what do you do?
It's basically come and see the show. That's always and if you buy merchandise, buy the original, because we are not getting 1 cent or dime from the ones that you buy from the streets. All the money is going to the wrong place, the pirates. So it's just killing us.
So guys, no more fake T-shirts.
Or if you want to make one yourself, that's better than buying one from anybody.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Recently, I read a book named Louder Than Hell. Have you read it? Do you know it?
No, I have not actually read it.
It's about the history of heavy metal, but it completely ignores power metal, folk, prog. A bunch of styles. It covers the styles that are as important as this one. It's not only it starts in Black Sabbath and ends in Big Four. It goes after it, but it ignores. So, if you could, in really brief words, summarize the history of not the history of power metal, but the contribution of Sonata Arctica so far to this kind of music, what would you say? What you have your main achievement?
Well, I never really considered us a power metal band per se, because we always had so many different types of songs also on the albums, and just few. Like if you take our first album, Ecliptic, it has few really like power metal songs to it, and then the rest is totally different. And same applies to all the albums, and it's less and less power metal as you go along. So, but well, definitely we have contributed. We the way we have done our contribution, I think, the way I see it is that our music has been always like swimming on different oceans of music, like flirting with pop music and rock music, and tossing hooks here and there, and then bringing people from other music styles. Like there's been a lot of people who've been to rap or pop music, and then they just hear one song that is like a little bit unlike metal song from Sonata Arctica as well, and like Tallulah, for example, like ballad, and then they are drawn into the circle, and they find new Sonata Arctica songs. Oh, this is great, fantastic music, and then they start finding new bands like Iron Maiden and Metallica, and just fall in love with the metal music and rock genre itself. And we have always functioned as kind of gateway drug to harder stuff in a way. So that's our way. We just bring people in. I think that's the way I see it. Yeah. But I don't know how big a contribution we've done per se on power metal or any given tiny genre of music, because I never felt like we fit anywhere. We are just like melodic rock, metal, whatever.
I asked power metal because of this melody, because it's really hard to put Sonata Arctica in a genre, because you mix and evolve all the time.
But it is what it is. We can't really change it, but we've been complained, but people have been complaining many times that we are the lousiest ever power metal band. Well, there might be a reason for it, because maybe we are not that. So, just I hate to be in a box, and it seems to be really impossible to kind of capture Sonata in one certain box, but still labels and people seem to be willing to do that. And it's a marketing tool, of course. You need to be in some kind of box so you can put a label to it, and this is that music and this is that. But in our case, it seems to be wrong, and I think that a lot of people who would per se like our music a lot are not finding it because of the labeling. So there's like problem there as well.
And every day there are new subgenres. You never know. It's all metal and rock music, but I agree with you. But sometimes it's really you have to put, as I said, have to put bands somewhere to make it easy, maybe. Okay. And before this interview, we made like an online contest, and fans could send questions that we could add to the interview. Okay, so we have a winner. So Leandro Silva, this is for you. So his question to you was, all the time you were invited to make participations as special guests in albums of other bands, but Sonata Arctica usually don't invite special guests to the albums. Like you have some, of course, but it's not a very common thing. Is there a reason for that?
It's got a lot to do with the schedule we work on, because I like now when I go home from here, I start writing songs, and I write over the summer during the festivals and everything, and then at the autumn, when we go to studio, I probably still keep writing. So it's really difficult, and the whole album might change a lot, even when we go to studio, because I might get a killer idea, whatever. Yeah. So it's really difficult to make a deal, and because you have to be well prepared in time to ask anybody to join and record something. So that's been proven to be a little bit difficult in our case. Sometimes we're like now, there's an opportunity that if I, like before June, for example, if I come up with a song that, oh, it would be great to have this and that person as a guest, their singer, especially a singer, it would be possible to make that happen. But many times we've been in such a tight schedule that it's just impossible. So I just do the lady parts myself. And then it's a matter of voice acting. You're going to get a lot of different voices out of a man, even. Imagine it. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was a good question, really. Because I would definitely love to have more guests. But there's no... I don't know, do we need it? I don't want to do that kind of stuff just for the sake of doing it. Yeah. Like have a guest for the sake of, now we have a guest. Because I don't know if we need such a marketing tool, for example. So it would be actually fun to bring someone who's not so well known, but it's a great singer. To have like play a part in like a Caleb Saga song, for example. If such song would emerge from the depths for the next album somehow, it would be great.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I would ask about the future of Sonata, the next album. So you already gave us a few words.
Okay, thank you. I hope you're happy with the answer.
He will be for sure. and about this new album, is there any? So you're going to start writing. There is no hints to the fans so far.
No, because I have no notes. I have a lot of songs written, but they are not for Sonata. There's something undefined for the future. But still, I'm gonna have a clean slate and start writing from the scratch when I go back home, and then see what comes out of it.
That's amazing. Yeah. Here in the cruise, it's a second time for Sonata Arctica. Yeah. And you also play tones of Rock the Boat, right? In Sweden. Yeah. And how is the feeling of playing? What's the difference between playing in a festival in the sea?
Or in
okay.
the land.
Or in the land, or not only festivals, but also in smaller venues in Europe or Brazil, for example?
Well, first of all, you are kind of confined on a boat. You can't run away.
Do you want to run away?
Maybe no, not really. But in some cases, there are some of these cruises. They are just filled with totally drunken people, and when you are not much of a drinker yourself, and you just like to be. It gets a little bit difficult sometimes on a tiny boat, but the problem, it's not happening here on 78,000 tons of metal. This is really, really well-behaved cruise. Thank you, all you metalheads there. This is the best, the top of the line thing. There's no cruise like this, and it's fantastic to be here. It feels like home, and I'd really consider this whole boat as my backstage, so you can see me walking around there. So. Yeah. Don't be shy. I'm fine. Come and ask photo, signatures, whatever. Such things are fun. That's why we are here, really.
Oh, that's amazing. And so it's a really different atmosphere from playing on a land festival where you hide more because there are so many people.
Yeah, but it's more closed, the backstage area. Yeah. It's like if you want to go and hang out in the audience, it's your own choice. But, there sometimes you are not even allowed to go because you need to take security with you, and it's sometimes.
Yeah, in smaller venues, do you like to play in a small, just like you said, the acoustic setting, intimate, but the regular gigs, what's the atmosphere in playing for not so many thousand people?
Well, I like both in a way. Of course, when you have a lot of people in the audience, there's a chance that, especially at the festival, there's always the chance that there are people who have never heard of your band, so it gives you an opportunity to impress them. Wow them and make new friends for your music. And then the smaller clubs, they are more intimate, and it's special. It feels much like more intimate, I suppose is the right word for you to use here, and just warmer, nice.
And when the audience respond well.
Yeah, exactly. When they live with you and they interact, it gives audience much more possibility to kind of be extra member in the band in a way. give us a lot of energy and
Still have time?
No.
So I just
Okay,
ask you to send to your Brazilian fans a message for the future or whatever you want.
Right. Hi Brazil, it's Tony. I miss you guys, ladies. Hope to come back real soon. Hopefully with the next album, sometime early next year or late next year, or 2020, the latest. But hang on there. A new album is on its way. No idea when, really, yet. 1 year from now, hopefully. But stay there and stay warm. I know you will, because you are in Brazil, and I'll be going back to Finland. Love you. Bye.
Okay, Tony, thank you very, very much. It's an honor to interview you. And thank you for talking to us and give us a little of your time.